Black people aren't getting married or staying married as often as other communities. These are the things that we're being told. I knew that I wanted to create a place where Black love stories live.
Codie Elaine Oliver is an accomplished film and TV producer who co-created a series called Black Love with her husband Tommy. This series features couples opening up about the joys, challenges, and realities of love within the Black community and has evolved into a holistic platform centered around basically celebrating the Black community.
Ownership comes with sacrifice. One must be willing to do a lot of work up front. In order to truly own what you want to create, you got to create it. You got to take it as far as you can so that no one can say, no, actually, that was my idea. We have a responsibility to bring others along. We can't just fight for us. We have to shepherd those coming after us. If we don't show up as love and fight for humanity, and what that means, then we can't win.
To whom much is given, much is required. Part of that requirement is sharing. Culture is the heartbeat within our lives, and it's at the core of so many things. While we live in a time when we are starving for wisdom, I welcome you to your wisdom retreat at Culture Raises Us. Signature question. When you hear culture, what does that mean to you?
You know, I thought about this question and I realized that when I say culture, it's often interchangeable with community for me.
Okay.
Because I look at our community, the Black community specifically, and I see culture. And so often when I'm talking about one, I'm talking about the other, how we define so much around us, right? We do it for ourselves. You know, we create music and art and fashion and we create all of this to grow closer to each other and to engage with each other. And we have for centuries, but it has defined the greater culture. So I'm always talking about us when I'm talking about culture and community.
Yeah. Talk about, given your experience within the content creation space over the years, what was that particular moment when you realized just how big and instrumental content was? And even if you want to go through it through the lens of Black culture, which is probably going to be your sweet spot, that you remember that moment where you saw the impact of how it impacts all of our global ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, I would say first it was probably much smaller than that. I recognized how content made me feel and the gifts, learnings, and education that it gave me. So I say that to say I always knew I wanted to be in a creative space, even though I went to Howard University and I studied marketing at first because I was like, everybody needs business majors. So even though I'm going to be creative, I need to go get that
business acumen.
Yes, but then I changed.
I told my daughter the same thing. That's why she goes to HU and is doing that exact same thing.
I love that. But then I changed my major. Nevertheless, but I changed to journalism.
Okay.
So fast forward to me sort of realizing in the journalism space how little control I had, right? I was absorbing all the things that were happening around the world at a time that, I mean, look, it's never too pleasant in that when you're ingrained in the news, but at a time when we were at war. So what I realized was how movie trailers and TV trailers made me feel. And I was like, I have to tell stories that make people feel good. I loved watching a movie and becoming a character in my mind, right? Becoming a character that I didn't grow up being, right? Learning from all kinds of different stories. And I said, I want to do that. I want to tell stories that make people feel good and give them a sense of someone else's understanding, someone else's humanity. So that's really where it started. And I left journalism after working in it, after working at Fox News for a few years, and I went to film school. And I knew that not only how stories impacted me, but I could see how important it was when I wasn't seen. So I love romcoms, but I didn't see a lot of Black romcoms. At that time, it was Love Jones, it was Love and Basketball, and we all love these movies. Because they're wonderful, but also because they're so few. We're still talking about them.
That's right.
20 plus years later.
That's right.
So that's when I realized how important creating was for me and how far and wide it could go. Is that no matter where I am around the world, we can talk about any of those touch points in culture, right? Movies, fashion, et cetera. and all be on the same page. And it was almost always rooted in us.
So it sounds like it's a great segue into how you got to Black Love and the reasoning behind it. Talk about that whole process, because now you have a piece where you were starting that with your college experience and your desire to see more of us in rom-coms, as you would call it. I'm assuming that was the segue into, all right, here's this concept of Black Love and the platform, the amazing platform that y'all have created that's way beyond just a series that I definitely want you to go deep in and kind of share.
Yeah. So it's actually a great example of how our cultural influence around the world shapes the stories that are told, or at least the ones that need to be told, and then we fight to get them told. So it really started, at home with my parents being divorced and me trying to like understand what does it take to make a marriage work when I was 12. So fast forward to 2008, I'm in my 20s and the Obamas are being elected. I always say both of them,
I love that.
Into office, right? And because what we were celebrating was not only this brilliant man who we all felt so passionate about being president, but we were electing the family. We were
grandma, everything, dogs, everything.
All of it.
Yeah.
We were all going, Black love, that's Black love. I heard it over and over again. And again, in my 20s, at a time where I'm looking for my, my forever, and being told that there's a Black marriage crisis, and that, Black people aren't getting married or staying married as often as other communities, or as long as Black women are more likely to be swiped right on the dating apps. These are the things that we're being told at that time in the early 2000s. Any Black woman remembers this. It was on Oprah. It was on ABC News. It was everywhere. But the Obamas, right? That gave us hope. And so I knew that I wanted to create a place where Black love stories live, because I could immediately see the impact of when we see it, we believe it. Just like all the children, all the young Black boys now said, I can be president. Looking at that couple and that family made Black women in particular feel like, okay, it's achievable. Shoot, the other thing we were told is that the more degrees a Black woman has, the less likely she is to get married. Okay, Michelle Obama said, not me. So that's where it started for me, was them. And I knew that I wanted to start capturing those stories in whatever way that I could. And even then, that was 2008. The show didn't come out till 2017.
Look how much time. Why did it take so long?
Part of it was insecurity, right? Part of it was, what is it exactly? Is it a coffee table book? Is it a documentary? Nah, it can't be a documentary, because I would have to step outside of my comfort zone for that. And so, part of it was definitely me not being ready for that version. And I did go do interviews for a coffee table book. I have quite a few that I did long before I met my husband. And the other part of it, my dad was sick in the middle there. And so life happened. And then when I did meet Tommy, my husband, who at the time was a cinematographer, producer, director, screenwriter, all the things in a good way. I met him and I mentioned it to him in 2013. And he was like, let's do it. And again, the other thing that became popular by 2013 was more documentaries and docuseries.
That's right.
So there was an evolution of storytelling that was happening,
and the medium
as well.
in which to do it.
Yeah. So it felt like this thing, documentaries aren't cool. By that time, it was
documentaries were it.
Yeah.
Everybody was going into documentaries.
Yeah. So it felt like the right time and the right thing. And where I challenged myself was that I never set out to direct. I went to film school to produce. And I directed the docuseries. Well, became the docuseries. It started as a documentary. And so I directed all 40 episodes. And so that's really where it was born.
I love that. Quite often Black culture, as we know it, is borrowed, appropriated, and is kind of used to inspire other cultures and industries. What's your thoughts on the importance of Black ownership within that, and the recognition of what it is that the Black community has brought to the world?
Look, I believe strongly in Black ownership. I feel like, number one, it helps us make sure the right story is being told in the right ways.
Yeah.
More often than not, we're selling something, whether it's a script, an idea, et cetera, to a studio or producers that will reshape it. Dilute it is a great word. More often than not, that's what's happening. And so the more we can own, the better. However, ownership comes with sacrifice and compromise in a sense. For ownership, one must be willing to do a lot of work up front. A lot of people want to say, I have an idea. Here, studio, make my idea, but I want to own it.
Come to life.
All you have is a sentence, a log line, maybe a paragraph. And it's really important for people to recognize that in order to truly own what you want to create, you got to kind of create it. You got to take it as far as you can.
That's right.
So that no one can say, no, actually, that was my idea.
That's right.
Or change it or shape it.
That's right.
And so with Black Love in particular, Tommy and I did, I want to say 2 years of interviews. We did almost 100 interviews before we edited a sizzle for the first season of the show, the first episode of the show, and did like a written treatment for what the full season would be. That's when we went out with it.
And that's 2 years worth of capturing content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perspective. Because we're in a microwave era, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody thinks everything is immediate. Snap of the finger, it happens. I'm so glad that you're walking through what I call the oven. No, it's like the oven process of you put something in, you let that thing marinate, it takes time, and everything comes together in this beautiful way. But it takes time. I'm sorry I jumped in on that, but
of course.
I felt like it was so appropriate because we are so much in, everybody's seeing the end, they're not seeing the journey. So continue to share your journey of 2 years, because I didn't even know that it took y'all, it was it was 2 years worth of capturing what you felt was needed to then create these assets to now go outside and say, we're ready to go.
We did our first interview September 2014, and we went out with the show in, I want to say summer 2016. And we immediately knew that we wanted to own it. And we'd done all of this work and we knew what we wanted the show to be, and we knew it couldn't be diluted. And so we had interest, but not every network wanted to give us the ownership. And so shout out to OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, for, that was never something that they balked at. And they were always my first choice also.
Oh, yeah, for all the right reasons.
Yeah, but the fact that was not a problem for them, it was a no-brainer. And so that it continued that way. But the other thing about ownership is because we did all that work, so we were able to get, further that conversation about ownership, but we took a license fee that was much lower than if a network or studio said, I'm going to own it and I'm going to just pay you for your work.
Right.
We took a license fee, and they ultimately were our distribution partner.
Correct. So you own and create what it is. They do all the things to help amplify, scale it, spread it.
Yep.
But you are the creative vision behind it that cannot be interrupted, diluted, or because I think that's another thing that a lot of people overlook.
Yeah.
Right. With certain things like this, when you can get a licensing deal, and not to say licensing deals are the end all for everything, but in a circumstance like this where you want to maintain the integrity of the content because that is the goal, you get a licensing deal where now I'm just handing off the baby. You now help do the work of spreading accordingly.
Yep. And it allowed us, so again, lower license fee than if they owned it. And it allowed us to sort of build up. So season after season, of course, that increased. But the other thing is we still owned it. So the show ran on OWN for 6 years, but it also, we were able to then be paid again to stream on Amazon Prime, on Hulu. I can't even think of all the platforms. So All Black. We were on All Black. And now we are on, we have our own FAST channel on Amazon. Dope. Where right now you can watch the show 24/7. Right now. We can change that at any time.
I love
but it gives us a lot more freedom and flexibility with what we want to do with the show. And it becomes a revenue stream forever, in addition to the fact that we can go do spinoffs. We can build the Black Love platform, i.e. blacklove.com, the Black Love Summit, podcasts, et cetera, because we own it. Merch, child, my favorite.
Yeah. You know what? I purchased one of my favorite crews from y'all at one of your events in LA.
Is it the Black Love is Beautiful?
1000%.
I love that sweatshirt. I almost wore it today.
White with the black and the red heart. And it's great quality, by the way.
It is.
So it's not, the hand on that was amazing.
Yeah. We're very serious about it.
No, very serious. And I remember having to get that. I think you did a black one as well. And that's when I started with your whole intro, when I talk about the holistic platform that you've now created based off of, I'll say, the Docuseries. It's a beautiful thing to see the different extensions of how this can come to life. And it sounds like you all are, open and venturing out to explore all these different things. What's the next chapter? Is there something on the horizon that you're like, this is a place where we see us having a potential influence, presence in this space?
The space that I'm very excited that we've been in the whole time, right? So let's be very clear. We launched the Black Love docuseries in 2017. In 2018, we launched the Black Love Summit and blacklove.com.
Yes.
And so on blacklove.com, we have editorial content, video content, celebrating what we call 360 degrees of Black love. So parenthood, sisterhood, brotherhood, self-love is extremely important.
So important.
And entrepreneurship, community, and underneath all of that is health and wellness, financial health as well. So these are all very important pillars to our platform. And so that was 2018, and we've continued with a women's wellness retreat called the U Retreat. We've launched several podcasts, and right now our tentpole podcast is the Mama's Den. Where we celebrate motherhood.
Nice.
And it's exciting to me because motherhood is so important to me.
Yep.
It's the space where I am most comfortable talking and learning. Like, I mean, I'm always down to talk and learn, but it's a place where this is a lifelong journey that I'm on with these 3 babies.
That's right.
And
it's going to have different phases.
100%. And it's a place where we can very easily, like marriage, become isolated. We think we can't talk about our problems or our challenges. And we need to. We need to have safe spaces to feel normal.
Strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Transparency and vulnerability.
Strength.
And so the Mama's Den is a podcast that we started in 2022. We launched in 22. We've been recording since 21. And I'm one of the 4 hosts.
Nice.
And it just brings me so much joy to see how many people appreciate it. Mostly women, but we get a lot of men. We get grandmamas and granddaddies, and even people who haven't had kids yet.
Yeah, it sounds like it's also a good tutorial.
Absolutely. And I think my favorite compliment that I hear about the Mama's Den is thank you for making me feel sane.
Correct, because we all are in our respective bubbles thinking we're the only ones. And when you are transparent and you're creating a safe space, you're now showing people, oh, wait a minute. So I'm not the only one. So I'm not crazy. I'm not, I'm not the only one that the devil's on. Like, no.
Yeah.
There's a number of us going through these same things. And that's why I go back to that word transparency. And safe spaces are so critical. And it's unfortunate that we don't create enough.
Yeah, I agree. And certainly the root of our platform is rawness, transparency, vulnerability. From the show, that Tommy and I shot every single interview with just the 2 of us. There's no crew in the room. It's just the 2 of us. And we try to extend that same vulnerability and safe space to every single thing that we do. And at times it can be challenging because people, what we hear is that people want the salacious, fighting, clickbait. And I'm not going to do it.
No.
I'm not going to do it.
Just because you want something doesn't mean it's the thing that you really need. And I think, we've got to get to places where we're providing what's needed and not what's moment.
And you know what? There's also nothing wrong with, obviously, entertainment as commerce, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what we're standing on with Black Love.
There you go.
For me, it's too critical
it's a non-negotiable.
A space. For us to compromise it by becoming clickbait. And it's been a conversation. I mean, our team, have you ever seen the show No Shade? It's very entertaining, where they pop the balloon on so they're looking to date, and there's like a group of men or a group of women, and the single person in the room is like deciding who they like or don't like. And if they don't like the person off looks, they pop the balloon in their face.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
that's aggressive.
I'm like, that's so hurtful.
That's different from a good swipe. Which
right. A swipe is in silence. You know what I mean?
Right. Like we in the comfort of your own home.
On YouTube. Now, it's entertaining. And interesting things are revealed. Why'd you pop the balloon? Because this person did it. But that's not what we're doing.
I'm sorry. Is the balloon in front of their face? Now I'm very intrigued.
They're holding it.
Is the balloon in their face?
Not like.
Okay. Okay, so that you could see their face, but the balloon's here, and then come, like, I'm not into you.
It's literally like, oh, I don't like his shirt. Bop. I don't like, the way he's standing. Bop. He too short. Bop. Boop. I'm like, that's so hurtful. But it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's just not Black love. It's not what we're doing. I want to be a tool and a resource for our community to see what healthy relationships look like, to talk through how to get there. Because sometimes I think a lot of us, and this is parenthood, sisterhood, marriage, a lot of us are looking at where we want to be and not all it takes to get there.
To get there, the steps.
We're very much about the journey. And that part is just really important.
Given the state of things, I think we're in very interesting times. So as I hear you share your vision and your goals and how necessary this is in our community, it's refreshing. But again, very interesting times. What are you doing specifically to ensure that the cultures and spaces you frequent are being nurtured properly? And what are you recommending for other creators and consumers to also do?
So I would say first and foremost is like trying to maintain some sort of positive state of mental health for myself is first and foremost, right?
You have to take care of you before you can pour in anybody else.
Exactly.
And that's not selfish.
No.
Sorry.
It's self-love. Okay. And if somebody says it's selfish, that's all right too. Just let it be, because it's you have to take care of yourself.
Boom.
And so that doesn't mean I get it right all the time, but it means that I know that my effort has to be to maintain some sense of sanity for me. And then honestly, I show up, our team kind of jokes that like the Black Love platform is me, like it's an extension of me. I show up as I just described the brand, right? I am pretty transparent and vulnerable in every space that I'm in. I try to, listen and understand where other people are coming from before reacting, before passing judgment, which is, again, what I want our platform to represent as well. And so for the spaces that I enter, I also try to hold space for the fact that this is a hard time. And, when people say, how you doing? And everyone says, fine. I stop saying that.
Thank you. What do you say?
I say a couple of things. I'll say as good as I can be doing in 2025, knowing that most of the people I encounter understand what that means or relate. It was harder in January as a person living in Los Angeles when we were going through the awful fires and the inauguration. So I try to just be as honest as I can with folks about where I am in that moment. My family is my priority, and juggling politics and the impact on our community and marginalized communities, it impacts me deeply as an empath. Like it's I feel like I'm carrying it at times. And so I honestly
especially as a parent. Yeah.
And I honestly just try to hold space for people's emotional state, because I can't solve all the political problems. And I'm trying to learn what I can do to be a part of the process. I'm probably more political than I've ever been in my life because it feels very much like life or death at times. And that doesn't mean it hasn't been the whole time. It just it's in our face right now.
And I think it's more than political. It's humanity.
Yeah. Yes. Which has been the priority, right? That has always been important to me, and now it's so threatened. That it's scary and overwhelming. So yeah.
Deep breath, the woo-sa. That is a woo-sa moment.
Yeah, it is.
And within that, D and I has obviously been a buzz conversation. And the elimination of in some places. But when you even look at when it was in play, it really ended up helping white women more than anyone else or any other group. What are the things we need to do now to ensure that diversity is reflected, especially in the spaces where we've made so much impact culturally over the last couple decades?
I'm kind of in a privileged place, kind of. There's pros and cons here. Because for the last, what is this, 2025? For the last 10 years, I've been an entrepreneur with a company for and by Black people. And so I am not in necessarily those corporate spaces where
this is a conversation.
Well, I mean, it impacts me because we partner with brands and studios, so it impacts me greatly. But my response to what can we be doing may be privileged, right? Because I'm speaking from my friends and from the things that I see my loved ones going through. I feel like the best thing that we can do is stand up for each other. We can't necessarily change these huge crackdowns, for lack of a better description, that these companies are doing to say, all right, we're getting rid of DEI, and that means that this department is going. We can't necessarily change those big high level things, but what we can do, like when Joy Ann Reid's show was canceled on MSNBC, we can stand up for one another and use our voice on social media, use our voice within organizations. Obviously Rachel Maddow was not a Black woman, but she stood up on TV and said, I don't agree with this. And so that's an example that everyone could bear witness to. But we've got to stand up for each other. We've got to fight as much as we can, because my understanding is if we just roll over and be sad about it, that's what they want.
And go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to add, it's similar to how we're using our voices and our money when it comes to Target. And I call them out specifically because I've had this conversation a lot with folks that with Target being so bold about supporting entrepreneurs of color, taking away their DEI initiatives felt like a specific betrayal to our community. I've had this conversation a lot because it's like, why them? There's so many other companies that are doing the same thing. Why are we all mad at them? We're mad at all of them. But that one was so loud and celebratory of us. So to take that away, felt different.
Right. Like it wasn't authentic from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, not my business.
No, that's the feeling you get. It was very performative.
Yes. And that hurt because we all, truly, we were like ride or die for Target because they stood up so boldly in celebrating and elevating our Black business owners.
But then so quickly ran from it.
Yeah. And so I use them as an example, but that doesn't change that we've got to take the same approach across so many other ways we spend our money and
I think another thing I heard you saying there is the notion of allyship is important. Is that a big component?
Absolutely. And I say that, allyship is huge. We are all in this together. We were talking earlier and, I am a proud 92%. Okay. I voted for Kamala with all the 92% of Black women. And when we lost and the sentiment was, this is their problem now. Like I'm going to drink my tea for the next 4 years. I got it. But I also had a hard time with it because I'm like, but we're all going to suffer. And I have 3 children. And so I don't know that that's the answer for me. And so I bring that up to say that sadly, I don't feel like I have a choice but to continue to fight and fight for specifically Black women, Black families. But I recognize that this political climate that we're in attacks humanity, to use your word, which I love. And that means the LGBTQ community. That means people of color who are not Black. That means so much. And I think it's really important to recognize that when marginalized communities are being attacked, it's all of them. Even if there's louder ones at times, even if we're talking about trans people over here, we meaning, I don't even like talking about the politics, but if a certain community is being attacked, we're next.
That part.
You know what I mean? Like Black women, Black people, they're coming for all of us.
Yep.
And we can't just decide to only stand up for
when it's us.
one. Yeah. And I realize that's hard for some people, but this is where we are.
Yeah. And with these worldly, what I call worldly circumstances, I mean, for me, my faith and my relationship with God helps to provide some sort of platform and sanity. Mm-hmm. Is it safe to say that there's an element of faith that you hold on to during this time?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's necessary. Mm-hmm. It is, my source of comfort, and my reminder that that God is love, and that's the best thing that I can do is show up as love. Mm-hmm. And that means for more than just me. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to it's overwhelming because there's so much coming at us right now. Mm-hmm. But if we don't, frankly, show up as love and fight for humanity and what that means, then we can't win.
Right. I love how you brought everything back to love, and just based off of everything that you've done and you're doing. We always end these with talking about what are the 3 seeds you'd want to leave with the stewards of culture moving forward. I'd love to hear what your 3 seeds are. And I feel like love is going to probably push through in one of them.
I'll let it be the last one.
Yeah, there you go.
The first thing that I would say is be unapologetically you, which can be hard at times, but to spend time like really understanding yourself and just show up fully, take up space, and remind yourself that it doesn't mean it's easy every day.
That's right.
So I would say that would be the very first thing is that we have to take up space. We have to remember who we are, who our ancestors are. We define culture around the world. And that doesn't mean we are a monolith. So that is why it is important for us to take up space exactly as who we are. The second thing I would say is mentorship, meaning we have a responsibility to bring others along.
Yes.
We can't just fight for us.
That's right.
And we have to shepherd those, coming after us. I think that's critical. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Exactly.
And then
guess what? There's
lead with love. Truly understand that everybody is going through something.
Yeah.
Everybody is a work in progress. And we have to give them patience and understanding and love. And sometimes that is hard. Yeah. I actually have love tattooed on the back of my neck. And I have since I want to say 2008, now that I think about it, unrelated to the Obamas. So in 2008, my first nephew was born, and there were things happening in my family that, I always wanted a tattoo, but I wanted it to mean, I knew I wanted it to mean something when I was 80.
That's right.
And
yes.
And so I thought long and like years about what it would be. And I just remember at that time, there was a lot going on in my family, and I knew that I wanted to be love. I knew that I wanted to show up even when I wasn't happy with other people's choices, especially when I had this nephew coming into the world. It was our first, in the family. So my parents' first grandchild. And so I decided on love as what I wanted to have on me, but I knew I could only have it if I could be it, which was still a work in progress, right? But I didn't want it wasn't a vanity thing, like, oh, it's a pretty word, let's put it on, And so I chose love and still waited several months. And on my birthday in 2008, October 31st, I had love tattooed on the back of my neck as my reminder, even though I can't see it, as my reminder that it's there. And if it's going to be there, I have to show up as love in every space that I can.
God is the amazing architect of things, and it's no coincidence. I mean, nothing is coincidence. It's just God's way of remaining anonymous. It's no coincidence that, the first time I met you was at Love Land.
Yes.
In Anguilla. And you have been consistently a reflection of great energy and love. And I love what you and Tommy and your team are doing in this space. And we'll continue to celebrate you. But just want to thank you for being a reflection of love as you've set out to do. And you're doing the great work.
Thank you.
So thank you. We truly appreciate your support because it helps us fulfill our mission of promoting cultural awareness and personal development. Please click the subscribe button below to help ensure and solidify our mission.